afternoon, our viewers at home, especially our teaming students within and outside Kano State. This is Student Hour. Ade. Here is a program organized as a personal community business service under the National Youth Service Corps in conjunction with Barr Television Authority in Kano State, with a view of making students realize the end to which education is a means. Education is actually a means, but what is the end to which it is a means? Last week when we were here, we were talking about career guidance in engineering professions, and we had a assistant lecturer, a lady engineer that came and educated all of us on engineering professions, how to become an engineer, and several other things about engineering profession. We hope seriously that you really enjoyed the program. Here today we'll be talking about the legal profession. And in the house with me today we have a seasoned barrister that will do justice to all that. And we have students that will represent the opinion of students about this program live in the studio. Permit me to introduce myself. I am Ade Adebodu. And with me is
my name is Barrister Jude Obinna. Thank you very much.
Right. We want our students to introduce themselves. Just what's your name and the name of your school? Start from you, please.
My name is Aminu Garba Kuwa. I'm from GSS Mali.
All right. Thank you.
I am Muhammad Peter by name. I come.
Several other things about engineering profession. We hope seriously that you really enjoyed the program. Here today we'll be talking about the legal profession. And in the house with me today we have a seasoned barrister that will do justice to all that. And we have students that will represent the opinion of students about this program live in the studio. Permit me to introduce myself. I am Adebodu. And with me is
my name is Barrister Jude Obinna. Thank you very much.
Right. We want our students to introduce themselves. Just what's your name and the name of your school. Start from you, please.
My name is Aminu Garba Kuwa. I come from GSS Mali.
All right. Thank you.
My name is Tassis and I come from GSS Mali. I am Muhammad Peter by name. I come here from GSS Mali.
Right.
My name is Abdullah Abdul. I'm from GSS Mali.
My name is Muhammad Harib.
My name is Aisha Just Adam. I am from GGSS Corper Ade.
My name is Maya Adu. I am from GGSS Corper Ade.
Right. Just before we go into the main discussion of the day, I want to appreciate the management team of National Youth Service Corps, particularly in Kano State, headed by the state coordinator, Mr. Hehab Sanusi. I want to appreciate them for their commitment to the success of this program every week. And I want to appreciate the management team of Barr Television Authority, led by Haji Asa Ibrahim, and also Kano State Secondary School Management Board, led by Honorable Habib Yako. Thank you very much. We hope that in the discussion today, you're going to learn a lot from the students, especially those ones that will be going into legal professions.
Thank you very much.
Right, sir. We will be talking about the legal profession. Our aim is to educate students about the legal profession. Many parents at home want, I want my child to become a lawyer, I want my child to become a lawyer. We want them to understand from secondary school what law, the legal profession entails. Sir, can you tell us what is law?
Well, law by definition is a set of rules that guides a society or a group of people. You understand? And law has very is a primitive instrument wherein people organize themselves and organize a set of rules to regulate what they do, how they relate with each other. You understand? And then what happens if this happens?
Okay.
That is law. And as primitive as law has been, it's been very fundamental to human development. Without law, what you have is anarchy. So law is very fundamental. Anybody who's aspiring to be a lawyer is a noble cause. This is a very good aspiration because of the fundamentals of what law represents.
Okay.
Thank you.
What you mentioned something that's at least I read engineering. I don't know the meaning. I think that a lot of people out there don't know the meaning. What is anarchy?
Anarchy is absence of order. Simply put.
Okay, disorder.
Disorder. Law represents order. Where you have law, you have order.
Okay.
Because law says this is how has to be done, and it has to be done that way. If it's not done that way, this is the repercussion.
Alright.
You understand? So if everybody follows it, you have order. But if there is no law, everybody does as he or she likes. It becomes jungle justice. Dog eat dog, if you put it that way. You understand? People do things they do because they can do it. But where you have law, you don't do that. You do things because they are right and they are legal.
Alright.
Thank you.
Well, sir, is it possible from what you have said we can realize, get the essence of law, that is just to regulate the environment, to put order.
Exactly.
But sir, is it not possible that human beings we all have common sense. We can just, okay, this is not the right, I'm driving on the road, I should drive like this, I shouldn't be stopped. It's not possible that we have a crime-free environment without law.
No. It is not possible for us to have a crime-free environment. What you, as Ade, sees as right may not be what I see as right. There is always a conflict of interest because there are always different opinions. You understand? People tend to have different opinions. And by the time you have different opinions and there is nothing to regulate those opinions, they tend to conflict. At the moment they conflict and there is nothing to adjudicate and say, okay, you're wrong or you're right, there is bound to be conflict and there is bound to be anarchy. You understand? Now, if, for instance, we all have a sense of what is good and what is right. But how many times all people that go about shooting people, robbing people, they are pushed, some of them are pushed to do what they do out of circumstances. But does that make it right? To them, it is circumstances, this is what they have to do in order to get what they want. Does it make it right? It does not make it right. It is wrong. And law frowns on it. And because law frowns on it, it apportions a penalty for it. So if you do that, this is the consequences. And that tends to keep people away from that. Those that go into it know that at the moment they are caught, the consequences are severe. Thank you.
Just for what you said before I go to the next question, it means, if I get it right, what you're saying is that law is just something giving us a basis for judgment due to differences in human sensations.
Exactly.
Right and wrong.
Exactly.
That's very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But before I proceed, I want to ask you a question. What really motivated you to be a lawyer?
Well, when I was a child, I've always been, I can't say outspoken, I've always been opinionated. I've always wanted to do that which appeals to me or which appealed to me. You understand? And specifically, I took, I was part of the students that took examinations then in federal government college, and I was successful. And one of the criteria for going to the interview is to obtain an affidavit from a lawyer. Okay. You understand? So I went with my mom to one prominent lawyer in Onitsha State to obtain the affidavit, and what I saw there was the first contact I had with a member of legal profession. I was very impressed. I walked into his office, I saw books. I'm an avid reader of books. I saw books, I saw how the places, I saw how many people that were waiting for him, and I whoa, I want to be this man. I want to be where this man is. That was my first interest. And then when I went into the secondary school, during holidays, I find time to go to courts, because we had some courts around where I lived. Then I found out time to go to courts, and then picked interest from there. What went on there, how it stands up to speak for other people, I felt this is something I've got to do. So from then, there was no stopping me.
I get it right. What you're saying is that it was a first contact with a lawyer.
Yes.
That really gave you the interest.
Exactly.
Right. That's why I feel that this program is going to be of great help. Many of us that are students out there listening to a lawyer speak, and this, even myself is getting praise. Perhaps I should go to university and say I apply for law. Right. Why must I said in your when you were talking, you said that you used to go to court and see how lawyers solicit for people.
Yes.
Now, must I get, if there is a problem, can't I face the judge myself and say, excuse me, this is why I've done this, is why I did it. Can't I solicit for myself, please? Why do I have to pay somebody when I have no more?
Well, the Constitution gives you the right to solicit for yourself. But there's this saying in law that the litigant that represents himself is a fool for a client.
Please come again.
A litigant that represents himself in a case has a fool for a client. See, as a lawyer, you are trained to remove all sentiment, remove all emotion in a case or that are associated in a matter, and represent your client squarely in accordance with the practice and the law, the practice of the courts and the law. Now, lawyers are trained because law proceedings is technical. There's so many technical things you do in the court that a layman will not be able to understand. You know, there are ways you're supposed to present your case. There are ways you're supposed to cross-examine the witness of the other party. There are ways you're supposed to address the judge. And if you're not learned in the act of law or being a lawyer, you will not be able to do that. All these things will be alien to you. They'll be foreign to you. By the time you know it, you would have destroyed your case, even if you had a case from the beginning. You understand? So it's usually better if you have a case, even if you cannot afford the services of a lawyer. There are so many lawyers in Kano here that will listen to you and do a pro bono case on your behalf and represent you without you paying anything. We have even a council established by the Law Barr Association that handles that, and even in Kano State government.
Do that for
yes, they do. You go to Gida Mutala, they have an office there. They do that free of charge. They listen to you if your grievances is such that they can take to court on your behalf. They do that without charging you anything.
All right, thank you very much. I think that will be another bonus for viewers at home that have challenges with finances.
Yes, exactly.
Getting a lawyer. But sir, what are the types of law? We're going back to law.
Yes.
What are the types of law we have?
Now, basically, you have types of law. Basically, you have criminal laws, you have civil laws. Every other thing falls within these laws, within this type of laws. And a criminal law is basically where somebody commits a crime. Now, if you do something, it may be a crime, and it may also give rise to civil action. You understand? For instance, if you're driving your car now and negligently you knocked somebody down, you committed a crime, dangerous driving. The police can prosecute you. The person you knocked down, you've committed what is known as tort of negligence. You understand? This is a type of civil action. It's tort of negligence. That person can also take you to court. Now, if it's the police that is prosecuting you, you are known as the accused person. The police or the state is the prosecution. Once they take you to court, they file an FIR. It's called First Information Report against you. You understand? You go to a magistrate court, depending on the case and the nature of the case and the punishment that is involved. If it's something that relates to a capital offense, you don't go to a magistrate court, you go to, because the magistrate court does not have jurisdiction, you go to a high court. But if ordinarily it is an ordinary crime, you go to a magistrate court, the FIR is read, and then the prosecution goes through its case, you go through your defense. If you're convicted, you are sentenced. But if it's a civil action, you have a plaintiff, you have a defendant. Okay. The plaintiff is the person that takes the matter to court. The defendant is the person who defends it. If at the end of the day, the plaintiff gets judgment against you, the court orders you to pay costs or to do some other thing.
Okay.
So the court passes its judgment on you. So there is crime and civil law. Every other thing goes around them.
All right. I think with that, you've been able to educate us on even the differences between
Exactly, we'll do
crime,
that.
criminal law
And civil law.
But excuse me, before I go on that, what is a crime?
A crime is simply put an offense against the state.
Against the state.
Against the state. I say it's an offense against the state in the sense that all of us, we have an umbrella body, which is Nigeria. You understand? We are all Nigerians. We are all protected by the Constitution of Nigeria.
Okay.
And then in Kano State, there are some crimes that are state-oriented, let me put it this way, promulgated by the state. They are not criminal acts by the state. Okay? Now, if you do any of these things, for instance, if you commit murder, you're not allowed, the Constitution prevents you from taking a life. Because Chapter 4 of the Constitution gives us fundamental human rights. And one of it is right to life. So if you take someone else's life, you've committed a crime, and you've committed a crime against the state. Because this is a set of acts that the state is empowered to enforce and protect as long as the citizens are concerned. You understand? So if you kill somebody, you've committed a crime, and you've committed a crime of murder, you've committed a crime against the state, and the state will prosecute you. Now, if the state does not want to prosecute you, I as an individual can go to the Attorney General and say, look, if the state is not ready to prosecute this person, give me a fiat. There's a document that is called a fiat. Give me a fiat to prosecute. And then before I can do that, I must have what is called local standard. I must have a right that has been violated. You understand? I must. If I don't show what my local standard is, I won't be able to prosecute. You understand?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We can see that there's a lot to learn about you.
Exactly.
Myself, I just kept on listening. But sir, I think maybe to cut it short in that area, what is, there's something I've noticed about lawyers. Perhaps maybe you have the sticker on your car too.
Indeed.
Learned colleague. Now, is that the uniqueness of law? The question I'm really asking is this: what is the uniqueness about law? I think for some of us that are just come on, what we just know about legal profession is the lawyer go to court, and, they start reading, and what is the real uniqueness about legal profession?
The real uniqueness, as far as I'm concerned, about legal profession is you are in a position to help people. You are in a position to advocate for people. You understand me? Advocate for people who ordinarily wouldn't have anybody to advocate for them. That's why a lawyer is called an advocate.
Okay.
A lawyer is called an advocate. Because, for instance, something happens to you. Because I've had so many people say when they have a problem with either a state government or a federal government, they say, don't bother. I say, why? They say, it's the federal government. You won't get anything. But that is wrong. If the state government or the federal government goes against your rights, provided either in the Constitution or any enabling law, you have every right to sue them. You understand me? And if you do that through a lawyer who is conscientiously willing to advocate for you, you get your remedies. the beautiful thing about law is that you are encouraged in law. In fact, it's not even encouraged. It's a bare necessity as a lawyer to be vast in other areas. You may have clients who are doctors, you may have clients who are architects, you may have clients who are engineers. If they have issues relating to their fields, they come to you to protect them, to advocate for them. And you cannot advocate for a lawyer, a doctor if you're not learned in that field. So that's why they are called learned people, because they are expected to be learned in every aspect of human endeavor. You are expected to know everything, at least have an idea, not have it in your head and be running around with it. No. Even if you don't know exactly what it is, you should be able to, as a good lawyer, know where to go and get it. Know where to go and get that information. In other words, research is part and parcel of your tools. Constant researching. If I don't know this, there's a saying in law that God forbids that a lawyer should know all the law. I know you're not supposed to know all the law, but you're supposed to know, if I need to do something on medical law, where do I go and get it? You go straight there and you research for it and you get it and you prepare yourself towards advocating for your client.
Right, I can see you have a lot for us. You are seriously
Thank
good
you.
for us. But we are running out of time. Let me just go to some of the questions we have here and then before we take the students, questions from the students.
Okay.
I want to ask, me as a secondary school student, just like we have them in the studio.
Yes.
As a secondary school student, I want to become a lawyer.
Yes.
What are the things that I should do?
Now, it is not, because then peer pressure and family pressure also may compel you to go into law when you're not suited for it.
Right.
You understand? You have to first and foremost look at yourself. Am I the type of person who will be able to speak without restraint? Who will be able to speak without being easily intimidated? Who will be able to advocate? Because the essence of a lawyer, apart from maybe if you're going into the field of solicitorship, the essence of an advocate is to be able to advocate. And the only how you can advocate properly is if you're armed with the tools of advocacy. And what are the tools of advocacy? Being able to speak properly, being able to have what you are going to present while advocating. You understand? Now, as a young student, when I developed the interest of law, I forget about the glamour of wearing all the big things they wear, all the big words they speak. Forget about that. Those are all secondary. The primary thing is you yourself being able to convince yourself that, look, I can do this. Okay? I can do this. These books are not too difficult. Because as a law student, believe you me, you must be able to study. You must put in 100%. If you don't do that, you fall by the wayside. Or you will just graduate with your certificate and you will be able to practice as a lawyer. There are so many people that does that. You understand? So if you're able to convince yourself that, look, I can do this, I can advocate, I can stand up and speak to people, I can convince by way of argument, because there's no straight answer in law. It's neither here or there. It's the power of your advocacy and the authority you're able to back yourself up with that will determine whether you're going to win a case or not.
So, the power of conviction.
Power of conviction, you understand, with the facts you have. So if you're such a person that can handle this, then I encourage you to go into law, because it is very liberating. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But sir, just in brief, just a few moments, can you talk about, okay, maybe I want to move from secondary school to higher institution, and the requirements, perhaps the O-level, JAM, likes.
When I was in school, that was in 1988 when I entered the university, what we are required to have is credit in art subjects.
Right.
Okay? English especially, government, economics. Government will come in handy because it delves into the aspect of social organization and law itself. So it's if you have your credits in the art subjects, some universities then wouldn't even mind if you have physics, chemistry, biology credit. They don't mind. If you want to read law, you come in and read law. You understand? But right now I am not very, my son just took JAMB, so I'm not very conversant as to what the requirements are presently. But I believe it will still be on the same line. But as a lawyer, you must be vast in art subjects. You must be well grounded in art subjects. Yes.
All right. Now, I think let me take some few questions. I think I want to be gender biased this time around. Auntie, do you have any question for us? All right. Your name, your school, and then the question, please. Just one question, please. Right. Just one question, please.
Is there any risk in not winning a case? No. There is absolutely no risk. Now, as a lawyer, the first thing you have to do is, if your client, just like, doctors have patients, market people have customers, lawyers have clients. As a lawyer, if your client briefs you to handle a case for him or her, do your best. You understand me? Do your best and let him know that you're doing your best. Of course, there are some lazy lawyers amongst us who would rather be more interested in how much you're going to pay him. And then he forgets about your case. The case comes up, he's not in court. Tomorrow it comes up, he sends a letter and says, please, I'm so well, please adjourn the case. And the case, instead of taking few months, takes years. At the end of the day, the essence of the client going to court is defeated. You understand? If such a lawyer represents you, of course you have every right to tell him what you feel about him. And if you notice, if you have any proof of his negligence in handling your case, you can take him to court.
Take a lawyer to court.
Yes, you can take him to court. Or if you want to do a lot of damage to his profession or to his practice, you can report him to NBA. There are so many cases like that in NBA. That is the body that is the order which all the lawyers are under. Nigerian Bar Association. Can report him to NBA. If NBA finds that he has done something unethical, unprofessional, he can be debarred. Once he's debarred, he is stopped from practicing law. You understand? So every lawyer that really wants to earn that name, an advocate, must be up and doing in handling any matter brought to him by a client.
You have a question?
I have a question. My name is Abdullah. Please, are there a good number of places in which the service of the lawyer is quite limited apart from the court?
Yes. Yes. For instance, I've made mention before that there are solicitors. But of course, when you're called to the Nigerian bar, you become a barrister and a solicitor joined together, fused together. So you can practice both. But in countries like America, you specialize. You're either a solicitor or you're a barrister. Solicitors don't go to court. You understand? Barristers go to court. Now, what do solicitors do? Solicitors prepare agreements. Solicitors represent companies as